Hello everybody. I would like to take you through some of the more common maps that are out there, maps that you will typically run into as a teacher perhaps, or just a human being living in the world. So some of this might be review, considering the task that you completed last week on different types of maps. But nonetheless, I wanted to kind of just highlight a few of the more common, the more popular maps that are out there and give you some examples. So the political map, great example there for you. It shows mainly just boundaries. It could show locations of cities, states. It'll show like labels of what the place is. Now the thing with the political map, it's not realistic as far as the land, because as you can see in this example, it looks like South Dakota is green, and we all know South Dakota is not green. But they'll use colors to differentiate areas. So it's realistic with boundaries, labels, okay, but it doesn't actually show what the country or the area looks like when it comes to physical features, landscape, things like that. For that map, we have what's called the physical map. So this one usually doesn't show boundaries. It might have labels as far as like some of the major cities. As you can see in this map, they have some of the major cities labeled, but the physical map's main objective is to show the physical landscape of the area. Mountains, rivers, lakes, desert, volcanoes, any sort of physical feature, any sort of landscape type thing will be depicted on the physical map. And again, they'll use color to show various things. In this one, green is more of a flat grassland type area. If it gets into the brown, dark brown, light brown, that is showing elevation, like mountains here in the Rocky Mountains. Water is obviously typically blue. So physical feature map, not going to really have boundaries usually sometimes, but the main objective once again is to show physical features and landscape. So a climate map, pretty straightforward, shows the climate of an area, which could be temperature, snow, cloudy days, as the example says. They'll use color once again to show the different climates. In this example, they have it broken up into climate zones. So this is the climate zone map of France. So they're using colors that you can see the map key at the bottom, showing you what those colors mean as far as the climate. The topographical map is a little bit like a physical feature map where it's showing the landscape, but in this one they are using contour lines to help show the landscape, specifically elevation. So in this map, you can see all these lines. The space between the lines shows you if it's a steep or flat area. So if the lines are really close together, it's a steep area, like a mountain. If the lines are spaced out wider, then it flattens out and is not any sort of steep elevation climb. Okay, resource map is a good map to learn about an area. It shows what sort of resources are there, whether they're man-made industry or natural resources. So in this resource map of Africa, it's showing what comes from various parts and various areas of the country. So again, oil is coming from there, gold resources there, things like that. And a lot of times in the resource maps, you get symbols. And so instead of having the word oil, you could have a little picture of oil drill or a little picture of a gold bar, using symbols and pictures to show what's coming, just to kind of make it a little bit more visually appealing. Here's another example of a resource map. It's really blurry, but I just wanted to show you that sometimes they do use symbols and pictures to show. This is particular South America, and they are showing resources with pictures. Okay, road map. Road map is the most commonly used map. It shows roads, and it's really handy to learn how to get around places that you're not familiar with. So typically people use their road map on their phone, like a smartphone app, Google Maps, MapQuest, things like that. But they're showing roads, and they show you how to get places, driving, or any sort of transportation on the ground. So here's an example. I don't know about you, but that looks extremely confusing. If I went to Oklahoma City and I was trying to have this piece of paper map in my lap as I was driving around Oklahoma City, I would either get lost or get in an accident, because like that is extremely difficult in my opinion to look at while I'm driving to try to figure out where I'm going. So this is kind of outdated, very outdated actually. If you go somewhere where you don't know where to go, you are going to call up your map app on your phone and it'll tell you and show you where to drive and where to go so you can get to where you want to go. But back in the day, without smartphones, people would have to look at maps like this to try to figure out where to go. And so one good thing about the advancement of technology is map apps that show you and tell you where to go, so you're not getting lost or trying to look at a piece of paper while driving. Theme map, I think, are kind of the more interesting maps out there. It centers around a specific theme, so it could show boundaries, it could show things such of what we've covered so far, but mainly the goal is to show a specific piece of information, some sort of a theme. Okay, so the best way is to give you some examples. Here's a thematic map of the world, and the theme here is what each country leads the world in. So again, good information. Like for the US, looks like we lead the world in two things, according to this map: Nobel laureates and getting killed by lawnmowers. So that's a pretty good feather in our cap, leading the world in people getting killed by lawnmowers. Maple syrup from Canada, and you can kind of see, some are easier to see than others, but you can see kind of what countries lead the world in. I think it's interesting. I'm not sure how they compiled this data, but nonetheless, it kind of gives you a glimpse of what each country is known for and leading in. Here's another thematic map. This one is focusing on males over 25 years old with doctoral degrees. So blue, down here you can see the color means something on the legend. Blue is hardly any doctoral people. And then as you get more down the line with color, you can see that the number of people with doctoral degrees increases. So like where we live, not a lot. Not a lot in the Midwest in general. You get a lot more in the coasts. So the next question is, why is that? So a thematic map will show us something. And then the question is, why is it like that? And that's kind of what you would go as far as the next step in exploring and learning more about whatever the theme is. This is another thematic map showing ACT scores by state. So again, you kind of see where the high score is coming from. The Northeast, in South Dakota, we're kind of in the low 20, mid 20 range, I would say. I think this is another interesting one about highest paid public employees. So the theme again here is the highest paid public employees in the state. And this is really interesting in my opinion because of the number of sports coaches that are leading the state in highest salary. So in the theme, orange, dark orange, and green are all coaches. And then if it's a blue state, that's a non-coach, that's the highest paid. So in South Dakota, our highest paid public employee is the medical school dean. And but you can see as you take a look that the coaching world is really dominating public employee salaries. Lots of states have a coach as their highest paid public employee. So like the football coach at a university, football coach at or basketball coach, they make a lot of money. So I thought that was kind of interesting to take a look at how sports dominate this particular topic. So with that said, those are a bunch of map examples and some of the more common, more popular maps that you'll come across. And so with that said, thank you for watching.